Already we discussing about the force. Force means any action which taking place of an object is called force. Any action means either push or pull. If you do any action means, for example, if you throw the object, tearing a paper, walking on the ground, stretching a foam ball, whatever it is, those all are the forces. Already we know that. One of the force application is pressure. So what is meant by pressure? Pressure is nothing but force acting per unit area. Force acting per unit area perpendicularly, then it is called a force. Generally, force per unit area. Then it is simply denoted by the letter P. P equal to F by A. Pressure equal to force by area. Generally, pressure is depend upon the mainly two factors. Pressure is depend upon the mainly two factors. What are the two factors? The first one is the force. Second one is the area. When the force increases, pressure also increases. When the force decreases, pressure automatically decreases. So the relation is directly proportional. One is increases and another one also increases. The relation is said to be the directly proportional. The second factor is area. So what is meant by the area? When the area increases, net pressure acting on the body decreases. Similarly, when the area increases, net pressure acting on the body decreases. So this is the inversely proportional. One of the quantity increases and another quantity decreases. The relation is said to be what? Inversely proportional. What are the daily life applications? So, if you want to cut the vegetables, we are using which side? Sharp side. Why? Because it has a less area with a constant force. We can easily cut the vegetables. If we want to insert the nail into wall, we are using the sharp side. Otherwise, if you are using this blunt side, is it possible to enter the nail into wall? No. Why? Because the sharp side, if you are exerted the less force, the force is very less, it created the more pressure. That is why it is automatically entered into the wall. Okay now? Similarly, why does the camel easily walk on the sand? It has broad feet. So it has the broad feet. That is why the camels easily walk on the deserts. But suppose, let us consider the horse. Horse easily walk on the sand? No. Why? Because it has a sharp feet. So it is walking on the desert, automatically it is inserted into the sand. That is why it is very difficult to walk on the sand. Already we know that the porters, they making a turbans. By the making of a turban, the net area increases by the using a cloth. With a less effort, they can easily carry a huge luggage. They didn't making the turbans, it is very difficult to carrying the luggage. So similarly, these all are the solid pressures. Similarly, other pressures also is there. What are the other pressures?
Liquid pressure and
atmospheric pressure. Gaseous pressure. Liquid pressure and
gaseous pressure.
The liquid exerted pressure is called liquid pressure, as well as gases also exerted pressure is called gaseous pressure. Similarly, liquids, it is exerted the how many types of the pressures?
3 types.
What are the 3 types of the pressure?
Upward pressure, downward pressure, sideward pressure, or partial pressure.
Upward pressure,
Downward pressure, sideward pressure, or partial pressure.
what is meant by the downward pressure? For example, let us take any object. Let us take the one of the stone. The stone is put on the surface of the water. What is happening? It is automatically sink in the water. So Any object, it is sink in the water is also accepted the sum of the force on it. In this case, the water accepted the force on the object which is sink inside, then it is called downward pressure. Similarly, let us understand, we take a foam ball. This foam ball is placing on the surface of the water. What is happening?
It will float.
Why it is float? For suppose I am trying to forcefully insert it into the water. Again I leave it. What happens? It is come up on the surface of the water. Again I will be placed inside the water. When I leave my hand, it will be come out on the surface of the water. In this case, the surface of the water is accepted the sum of the force on the foam ball. It is float on the surface of the water. So this force is accepted by the water and the foam ball is called as upward pressure. Water is also accepted the force on the sideward. So this is called as sideward pressure. Actually, you make a hole to the bottle. Make a hole to the bottle. The water is come out? No, the water is not come out. For example, if I want to open the cap, what is happening? The water is come out. The water is come out. Here, the amount of the water decreases, the speed of the water which come out from the bottle is also decreases. If I have, again, when we have closed the bottle cap, automatically what is happening? The water which come out from the bottle is also stops. Why? Because the air which inside the water bottle is also accepted the sum of the force. Automatically the force accepted by the water by the air is decreases. Automatically the force decreases, the water doesn't come out. The water which come out from the bottle is also depend upon the depth. When the depth increases, it is also accepted, force is also increases. Take that bottle, Nana. Take it. I make a hole to the bottle. You observe that the speed of the water which come out from the bottle. Which one is come out forcefully? Down. Why? Because the more water on the surface of the hole which created the more force. When the force increases, the pressure is also increases. The water which come out from the bottle is also increases. So these are the three types of pressure. Three types of pressure. One is the downward pressure. Another one is the upward pressure. Next one is the partial pressure. For suppose, and last and final, once you have to see, I'll take the water in a glass. If I am pouring the water, it is fallen or not? Fallen. And also, but take one paper, Nana, a thick paper sheet. The water is there.
Yes, sir.
I am turning this side and leave my hand. The water doesn't come down. Why? Because actually kerchief also it has a small force. If I forcefully turn down, the water doesn't come down. Why? Because the air inside the atmosphere, it is accepted the sum of the force. Due to this way, the water which doesn't come down. Once you see, if I touch any one of the surface, I am pushing down, the water is to be coming down. Why? Because the force is acting on one place is to be force acted, the water is to be come out. Anywhere it has a sum of the space, it will be comes down. Actually, water it doesn't stops the kerchief doesn't stop the water. Why? Because the kerchief is also has a sum of the force. To the force, the water is to be comes down. But actually, it is already you know that it has a thin layer. If you are accepted the force, then the water is to be come out. Once you have to see. Okay, now this force is to be acted, then only the water is to be come out. These are the different types of the pressure. It will be acted on the different bodies. Okay, now.
Pressure equal to the force acted on a unit area is called pressure. The pressure is denoted by capital P. Now, so units for pressure are CGS units, dyne for centimeter square, SI units Newton for meter square. Thanks at pressure on different items. When we water in the glass, when we turn down, the water will come out. Actually, paper did not stop water from glass. When we hold it and turn the glass, the water will not come out.
There are three types. First, upward pressure and downward pressure, partial pressure. One is when we put in water, the stone is downward pressure. The water extracted pressure in downward direction is called downward pressure. The foam ball, when we keep in water, the ball is come up and flowing. The force is extracted to the water is called upward pressure. It's also extracted partial pressure. When make a hole in water, the water is not down. And when we open the cap, the water is come out. It is called partial pressure.
Explain very easily in experimental mode. When we learn experimental mode very easily, it is using to our daily life. Thank you.
Good morning to all. We explain the concepts in experimental mode and we have to give the daily life explanations. It is very useful to the children. So when we explaining the concept in experimental mode, the students easily recognizing and remembering the concepts without any difficulty. So science is not a matter of textbook. Science is a concept it is useful to our life. So that's why what you have to do in the textbook, you learn the concepts with experimental mode, then only it is useful to children and they are applied to their life. Without physics, anything is there in our life. So that's why you have to learn the any concepts in the experimental mode. It is very useful to understanding the concepts and also it is applicable to our day-to-day life. So that's why you have to learn what are the concepts you learn in the experimental way. When we learn the experimental way, the students becomes a scientist. They invented the new things and those all are useful to the society in their future. So that's why we conducted the small experiments in the classroom. The students, they are easily recognizing the concepts. Thank you.